Hi there, I'm Miss Jerry, and I have a book to read to you today called Silly Tilly's Thanksgiving Dinner. Let's see what happens. It was Thanksgiving morning. Silly Tilly Mole was in her garden. The leaves were falling all around. Summer is gone, said Tilly. I can't remember where it went. There she is in her garden. A robin flew past. Goodbye, Tilly, he called. It is cold and I'm going south. Mr. Bunny came hopping down the path. He had on a scarf and mittens. He was pulling earmuffs down over his ears. I'm just practicing, said Mr. Bunny, in case we get frost tomorrow. Oh dear, said Silly Tilly. I forgot to remember that winter is coming. I forgot to remember Thanksgiving is here. Tilly ran down the path to her house. Wait, Mr. Bunny, she called. I have something for you. What did you say, Tilly? Yelled Mr. Bunny. I can't hear with these earmuffs on. I said, wait, said Tilly. She turned to look at Mr. Bunny. She ran, bump, into a tree. Her glasses flew off. Mr. Bunny hopped over. Did you say wait? He said. I did, said Tilly, but now my glasses are gone and I can't remember why I said it. That's all right, said Mr. Bunny. I'll sit down here and wait for you to remember. Mr. Bunny sat down. Thwomp. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, said Mr. Bunny. I think I found your glasses. He sat on them. Oh, thank you, said Tilly. That's it, she cried. I just remembered what I forgot. It is Thanksgiving. I'm having Thanksgiving dinner for all my friends. Wait, I'll get your invitation. Tilly put on her glasses. She ran into her house, but her glasses were smudged and everything looked foggy. Said Tilly, there's a fog in my house. I can't have fog in my house at Thanksgiving dinner. Tilly opened a window to shoo the fog out, but the fog wouldn't go away. Tilly, called Mr. Bunny, I'm still waiting for my invitation. Oh dear, said Tilly, I forgot to remember where I put the invitations, and it's so foggy I cannot see where they are. I will get a broom and sweep the fog out. I don't think that's going to help. Tilly ran to the kitchen to get a broom, but she could not see. She bumped into the stove. Just in time to cook Thanksgiving dinner, said Tilly. She ran to the cupboard to get pots and pans. But she forgot where she was going. She went to the table and got some cards instead. Here are the invitations, she said. Mr. Bunny, she called, here's your invitation. Mr. Bunny hopped up to the door. Are they all for me? He asked. Oh dear, said Tilly, I forgot. There's one for Mrs. Squirrel and one for Mr. Woodchuck and one for Mr. Chipmunk and some more besides, but I forgot to remember to send them. She forgets a lot, doesn't she? That's all right, said Mr. Bunny. I'll give them out on my way home. Mr. Bunny looked at the cards. The first card said, Mrs. Squirrel's Acorn Jam. Mash a bowl of acorns, add a cup of sugar, stir, and cook over low heat. That's a recipe, not an invitation. The next card was a recipe for Mr. Woodchuck's pine nut cake. The next card was a recipe for Mr. Chipmunk's cranberry stew. The next card was a recipe for Mrs. Field Mouse's oat bran pudding. The last card was a recipe for Mr. Bunny's sweet potato pie. Yum, yum, said Mr. Bunny. What a great idea. This is going to be the best Thanksgiving dinner. Mr. Bunny hopped off to give out the cards. Tilly turned into the kitchen and started cooking. Now, where are all those recipes? She asked. She just gave them away. She hurried over to her desk, but she could not see and she forgot what she was looking for. Oh dear, she said. It's getting late and I'm tired. I'll sit over near the fire and try to remember what I forgot. Tilly sat down near the fire and she fell asleep. When she woke up, it was dark. "Almost time for Thanksgiving dinner," she said. "Almost time for my guests to arrive." Tilly got up to set the table. "Oh dear," she cried, "I just remembered what I forgot. It's so foggy I could not see to find the recipes. I never cooked Thanksgiving dinner." Tilly started to sniffle. Her eyes filled with tears. Just then the door flew open. "Who's there?" called Tilly. She wiped her eyes. Then she wiped her glasses. The fog was gone and she could see. She saw Mrs. Squirrel carrying a bowl of acorn jam. She saw Mr. Woodchuck with a pine nut cake. She saw Mr. Chipmunk with a pot of cranberry stew. She saw Mrs. Fieldmouse with some oat bran pudding, and she saw Mr. Bunny carrying a sweet potato pie. "Oh, how lovely," cried Tilly. "Now we can have Thanksgiving dinner." But just as they all sat down to eat, they heard gobble, gobble, gobble. The front door flew open. In came Mr. Turkey with a bag of corn. "Tilly Mole," said Mr. Turkey, "don't you know you can't have Thanksgiving without Mr. Turkey?" "Oh, Mr. Turkey," said Tilly, "everybody knows that. I just forgot to give Mr. Bunny your invitation." So they all had Thanksgiving dinner. Then they sat around the fire and sang songs. Mr. Turkey made his recipe for Mr. Turkey's best ever popcorn, and everybody said it was the best Thanksgiving ever. The end.